Hello Flosstube, it's Lori of Mischievous Stitches. Welcome to my channel. I'm back again this week and I have lots to share. I have a finish and I have a new start and I have plans and I have a junk and find. So let's just get started, and I want to share with you first the thing I'm most proud of for this week. And this is my finish on Womack. So here's the pattern, and this is by Shakespeare's Peddler. What I did do was change the fabric and the thread, type of thread used in the color. So let me share with you. Ready? Here is Anne. Isn't she beautiful? I really love red samplers. This is one of many I've stitched. I have a few of them actually framed it on the walls behind me. But I'm very proud of this one. I loved it the day I saw it, bought it, and I'm glad to have it finished. I did start this last year. As one of our famous Flosstube friends here said, always have a red project on the go. I kind of took that to heart because I do like red samplers so much, and so I have been keeping one on the go at all times. And I do have one planned after this one, so I'm going to share that with you today too. But back to Anne. Lots of people reached out to me and left comments this past week and the week before that they had either purchased or were going to start Anne. I did want to bring a couple of things to your attention so you'll be aware. There is over one stitching, which is one thread over one on this piece. It is here in this alphabet, as well as in the verse. It is nowhere else in this pattern. But in those two places, it is over one. That intimidates some stitchers. Don't let it intimidate you. I did have someone comment that, oh, I didn't realize it was in there. It's easy. It's a little more tedious. It's going to take you a little more time. But you can do it. So just jump right out there and do it. What I do with my over one is I stitch one stitch at the time. Normally in a regular 2 over 2 or 1 over 2, I stitch all the way across like a typewriter and come back. When I'm doing over one, I stitch one stitch at a time. And I just do that to kind of secure, because you're stitching back over threads in the back. And that keeps, sometimes 1 over 1 stitches will sink into the back depending on the weave of what you're stitching, or how tight you're pulling the stitches. But back to Anne, there was a couple of things that I found in this pattern I wanted to bring to your attention. I had someone reach out to me last week in a comment and said, oh, did you know that some of the triangles on the stars are backwards? Yes, I did. Those pieces are stitched as charted. So this is a reproduction sampler. The original is here on the pattern. So this little girl was 8, and so she made some mistakes, and those are what make these pieces so endearing, is those mistakes. So they are stitched as charted. There is a compensation area in here in the bottom line. So you see I had this line here stitched. I got all the way across, and I realized I had a mistake, and I had to search for it. Now, for those that don't know what a compensation stitch or compensation stitch is when you have a border or you have a row like that and it seems to be repeating. Like any of these that are below these alphabet are just ones that you can get in a rhythm with stitching because it's the same pattern all the way across. So the problem in the bottom was it wasn't like that. So right below this vase, which was in a page break, there's a compensation stitch in the leaf in this band here, this line, this band of stitching. I had already stitched this all the way across, and I would have pulled out way more stitches to remove that than just for myself to compensate. I just left one line out of the bottom portion of the vase. So it should have had 3 rows. I put 2 because the leaf right below it only had one line, and I had put the 2 in the repeat. So just be aware of that when you're stitching it, if you want to be true to the reproduction, that is there. But here's Anne. Oftentimes when I stitch them, I'll put my own name and a date in there that is meaningful to me, or a family member's name. I really enjoyed this one, and I just wanted to keep Anne here. So Anne is stitched into her piece. So thanks for watching my journey on this piece. I'm very happy with the finish, and for those of you that are about to start it, or that have purchased it enjoy every stitch. I know I did. So I'm going to put her right here so you can see her a little bit. So this was a whip from last year. I did go ahead and make plans to start another one. And I will, when I say another one, I'm picking up another whip. But I'm also going to pick up another red sampler I'll share with you soon. This is the next one that I'm going to pick up. And this is Alphabet Zoo. This is another whip that I started a couple of years ago. Now, I started it on the occasion of my daughter being pregnant, and God had other things in mind with that child. So we didn't have the child, and I didn't stitch it. I had gotten a portion in. Last year, I did pick it back up, and I stitched a couple more of the letters, and I just put it down again. So this year, I have a reason to pick it back up again. My daughter is due September 4th. And she announced it to the family last Friday. And so we're all excited. I've shared it with some of my closest friends, and I'm excited to share it here. So this year is probably a lot of what I stitch. You'll probably see baby crocheted baby blankets, that kind of thing. So I'm excited about that. And it's going to be a girl, or at least that's what they say. I know with my grandson that's no longer with us, he was predicted to be a girl to start with as well from the sonograms. So even though it doesn't matter, honestly, either way, girl or boy, we're preparing, but what if it's a boy? My son-in-law says he is the 9th generation of boys. So there's been no girls in his side of the family for up to his generation, with this is the 9th generation. So, we'll see. We'll keep our fingers crossed. Okay, back to this. So I'm going to pick this one back up and finish this so I can get it framed and ready for baby's arrival. So the next big one that I pick would be this. I made a decision this week too that what I was going to do this year is do, this will be my red letter Christmas year. There'll be lots of red orts in my container this year. I plan on working on my red sampler some more, which I told you I do love. I try to always have one on the go. And I'm going to do some smalls. So last year, what I did a lot of is when I would buy new things, this is full of small projects. This is an ornament. This is my basket of things I kitted last year, and they're all smalls. I had a plan originally at the beginning of last year for this to be a Christmas ornament year. And those that's watched me for a while may realize and know that I love the bigger projects. So what I'm going to do is do a small project in between the big ones. So I will be finishing Alphabet Zoo up, but I'm going to do a couple of smalls before I get to that. So I did start one of those smalls this weekend. I shared it in the last video, but it was as a kit. So I picked up one of my Heartstrings Santas. Let me pull this off. Here he is. I changed the fabric. I had all the colors. It has a Mill Hill charm right there, a teddy bear. I'm not going to put that in there. I'm going to leave it just as it is. I thought about trying to get a charm, a star charm, but I'm not going to do that either. He's working up very fast. He's been a pleasure, and I'm going to share with you what I've got so far. And here he is. Oh, he's got a big wrinkle in the center. Let me see if I can smooth that out. I'm stitching him on a Q-snap. So I love this moon here. It is checkerboarded. It's DMC 677, 676, and then I think it's one of the 720s that is the darker dot in the center. So you see right there? I love that. That's what drew me to this one. Not only the moon, but the way the moon was designed. I thought it was amazing. So I'm there with him, so I'm sure I'll have a finish this coming weekend on him. And just for information's sake, you saw I had a Post-it note on there. I know there's products out there for this, but I just use a Post-it note. And when I'm stitching large groups of color or like the checkerboarding in this moon, I just do this to kind of mark, pick it up and move it when I'm marking where I am on a pattern. So that's why that was there. I always have Postit Notes around somewhere. I don't always have those other little stitch gadgets to do that. So that's this. I'm going to work on him this weekend, and like I said, hopefully I'll have him finished before next weekend. Then again, this Sampler Bird Tomato Scissors Fob, I want to try to get that one done by next weekend. Now, let's move on to my plans for my next red sampler. Now, this is for my friend Christine, because she asked me which one I was going to start next. And there's a couple that I have. I have one of the Bristol samplers from Nicola Partman, and I have that one kitted up. I actually have two from her. I have another one from Shakespeare's Peddler, but I just bought this one, and I thought, let me do this one. So this is the L Gingers I shared on my last video. I had purchased this one, and this is a leftover remnant from Anne Womack. So it's the perfect size piece, maybe a little big, but that's okay, to stitch this one on. And I don't know what it calls for red, because I love to choose my own red threads. But I bought these 2 years ago, and it was just red shades from, I never can remember the name of these threads. You guys know. But there's 3 different colors, 2 spools each of 3 different colors. And if you look at them, you can probably guess which one I'm probably going to choose. Right there in the center, that orangey red. So I'm going to use these. And these are great because they're a little bit thicker. A strand is a little bit thicker than the DMC threads. And I'm going to be stitching it over one, so these are perfect. They're going to be nice and plump to feel the fabric. So that'll be coming soon. And maybe next weekend I'll share with you everything that I've got kitted in that basket. So you get a little preview of what I'll probably be stitching on throughout the year. So this year I did get 2 things in the mail. I did order a couple of patterns. And I went in to buy this. I talked about this on my last video too, but the new 2022 Prairie Schooler has been released. And I went ahead and got the linen and the pattern, and no pattern can travel alone. So I ordered Buttermilk and Blue sampler. And this is by Stacy Nash Primitives. I've had this in my wish list on 1, 2, 3 for a while, and I went ahead and pushed the button. Now this one is stitched with wools. And, you know, if you've ever stitched 1, 2, 3 stitch and you go to the pattern, you can click and order all the supplies at the same time. One button, it orders them all. And when I saw the printout of how much it was, I gasped. I didn't realize that there's multiple strands of that wool to do. When I say multiple of some colors. And so I'm going to see what I have on hand here versus getting those threads. It's still going to be a beautiful piece. It just won't be stitched in wool. All right. Now, I want to share with you what I got last weekend. So I took a couple of days from work. My husband wanted to take off to Myrtle Beach, South Carolina for a car show. He waited to the last minute, so we could not get a room, or we could get a room for some of the nights, but not consecutively. So we ended up not going. And my mother and father realized that I'm off, and we took off to the mountains, the 4 of us together. We went to Helen, Georgia. It's a little German area there in the North Georgia mountains of German heritage. And on the way there, we stopped at, I think it's about 4 different antique shops on the way. The first one we stopped at was in Commerce, Georgia, and it is it's an antique and vinyl records place. So I wasn't real sure what I was walking into, and it was just what it said. There was just one corner that had vinyl records. The rest was antiques. Nothing really stood out to me. There were a few things. There was lots of spools, and I used one of those spool pictures as the cover photo for last week's video. But this was hidden in the back. It was behind a broken lamp and a lot of old rusty and crusty and dusty things in a back room. When I walk in a booth, I kind of pay attention. Most of the antique places I go in are in booth style. I walk in, I kind of browse, and I'm looking to see the crochet doilies and the sewing supplies or sewing boxes or things like that. And then I kind of know I'm in the right place for me. I didn't see any of those. Go in the back, and like I said, it's all rusted farm implements and that kind of things. But then I spied this behind an old broken rusty lamp and another tool. And I brought it home with me. It is not on linen, it is on perforated paper. Hold on, I'm trying to get the card from the shop off of. It says, "I'm the vine." So it is a religious piece. I did look up the verse, and I posted a picture of this piece when I found it on Instagram. And I looked up the verse, and it is posted there too. It is stitched with wool threads, I can tell. It is a plastered frame, and this is, I don't know, it's what I guess you would still call it a fillet. And you can tell at one time it was a velvet color fillet. If you look close enough, let me see if I can point out a spot. Right up in here, can you see the blue? I've not cleaned this up at all. I've not dusted it. I've not wiped it up. I want to be real careful and spend time doing this correctly, but you can see that this perforated paper was marked. So after I posted this on Instagram, Flosstube friends to the rescue. I had a sweet friend message me and sent me a picture of a piece like this that she had taken in a museum. I figured it was probably from the 1800s, and from the research I've done, and as well as the information that friend shared with me, this is called Berlin work, done on perforated paper. It was popular in America in the 1800s. It's from the 19th century. It is typically stitched with wool, some cross stitch, some needlepoint. I think it's beautiful. I see lots of things when I'm out shopping. Some things speak to me and some things do not. Some things I just don't bring home. I think they're beautiful. I would love to give every stitch that I find a home, but some just speak to you. That was this one for me. So I did get online too, and I did a little research about the frame itself. And it says with these old plaster frames how you can date them. It's just not only by the hardware. Look at those eyelets. And the wiring. How it's put together in the back. And those type of things is how you can tell age. You can see some of my plaster is coming off on the corners. But otherwise, whoever had this took pretty good care of it. I can tell from the edges there was some paper on the backing, and it's gone. And you can see, I'm trying to be careful, I don't want to drop it. You can see the perforated paper there coming through. So I do want to clean it up, pull those old rusty nails, see those, off, and get it hanging. And I couldn't wait to share it with all of you because I knew you'd be just as excited as I was. And best thing is, I got this for $28. To me, it's a steal. I don't know about all of you, but when I see something in a shop and I know the time and the attention that goes into a piece, all of us do. And to go in and see something like this that probably took many hours for $28, it makes my heart drop a little. Because whoever had it has no idea its real worth. It's worth much more than that to me. Because whoever stitched this put so much love and care and time into it. Well, there's that. I do have one other thing. Last week, St. Patty's Day fell on Thursday. And my family is of Scotch-Irish descent. And this come up on can't think. I got an email from a shop, and they were offering this because it was St. Patty's Day at a discount. So I ordered a kit to do this throw, this crochet throw. Now, I don't have one of my own. I have crocheted several. The last one was a Christmas one that I was going to keep for myself that my mom claimed. And she was here when this came, and she's already claiming this one. And I said, Mom, I love you. I'm going to keep this one for myself. But I look forward to stitching that. I said it again, stitching, crocheting that. But I thought you'd want to see it. It did come from Heartstrings, and so it is Premier Eversoft brand yarn. But I do like getting those kits. I think it cost me $32 and some change, which I didn't think was bad at all. And other than that, this week I'm going to continue to work on my Santa. I'm hoping to stitch and finish up the scissors fob, the tomato scissors fob, before next weekend. And my ornaments that I shared with you last weekend, I'm going to challenge myself to finish 2. And I will probably finish them this Sunday, but I'm doing my video a day early because we're having a family day tomorrow and I want to give my attention there. So when everyone goes home tomorrow, I will try and finish 1 or 2, let's just say before next weekend in case I don't get to them both. So I'm excited to share. I'll be excited to share all of those 2, not all of them, but those 2 with you as well. So everyone have a wonderful weekend. Thanks for visiting with me again today. Thanks so much for the comments. You guys are great. Positive comments and just support of my stitching. I feel the same way about you guys when I'm watching on Instagram and I see your stitching. I'm cheering you on as well. So everyone have a great week. We'll see you back next weekend. Bye-bye.